During the course of researching my book, Reinventing You, I came across a professional named Chris, who was a finance executive at a Fortune 500 company. His career had been moving along really well, and then all of a sudden it started to stall. He got passed over for promotion, then another promotion, and he began to think something was wrong. He wanted to make vice president, but he wasn't advancing. Eventually he found out from his supervisor that he was viewed as not having an enthusiastic enough attitude. They thought that he was dour or cynical, and if he was ever going to move up in his company, he had to change how he was perceived by others. I think Chris's lesson has a lot of resonance for many of us, because at some point in our careers, we may need to change how we're perceived by others. So how do you do it? There are 3 key steps you can follow. The first is identifying key behaviors to focus on. You can't change everything about yourself, but in Chris's case, he realized that even his voicemail message sounded unenthusiastic. So he changed it to sound perkier. When people would come up to him in the hallways and they'd ask, "How are you doing?" he'd say, "Oh, not too bad." And instead he began to say, "I'm good, I'm great, I'm doing well." And so even those small changes showed a positive benefit. The second is that you want to engage the feedback loop. Chris began to realize that as he was acting more positively toward other people, they were echoing it back to him. And pretty soon he was beginning to feel more positive and was encouraged in the process. And third and finally, you want to take care to showcase the new you. Armed with his new attitude, Chris began proactively reaching out to colleagues and contacts, including people above him in the organization. He would think through, what are some things that would be a reason why this vice president or this SVP would want to spend time with me? And he'd invite him out for lunch, which on his corporate campus mattered. And as he began to be seen as a guy who was out and about with some of the power players in his organization, it solidified his reputation as someone who was on the move. And it took work. It took several years, but Chris made the transition and he got his promotion. And so those are 3 things that you can do to change how you're perceived by others and to make sure that they see your potential.